So Mike Tyson and Jake Paul just took place, and I feel like this was like one of the worst fights to happen this year. I mean, nobody won. Not Jake, not Mike, not the fans, not even really Netflix. They always manage to get us with these gimmick type fights, and yeah, they got us again. I'm gonna give you guys the honest truth. Here's what I think. I mean, I think but seriously, guys, I'm going to give you guys the answers to all the questions you guys want to know. What happened to Mike Tyson's leg? What's next for Jake Paul? And why did we have to see Mike Tyson's cheeks? Like, come on, dude. Also, at the end of the video, I'm going to be talking about the UFC's terrible decision they just made. I'm going to get into that later. But I said from the very moment this fight got announced, it was going to go either one way. Number one, a devastating knockout for Mike Tyson. If this is a legit fight, you know, Jake Paul's going to annihilate Mike Tyson just because of the age difference, just because of the fact of how Mike Tyson fights. He's going to rush in, and I think he would have gotten caught with something. Or number two, this was going to be a light spar, right? Almost kind of like the Roy Jones versus Mike Tyson fight that happened 4 years ago or so. And yeah, this kind of seemed like this was the issue. It just seemed like both these guys were going super light on one another. And in both scenarios, right, it was just going to disappoint. I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, but there were protests going on outside protesting the fight. I mean, it was worse enough that Mike Tyson had to lose, but now he's got to leave the arena to hear KSI's new song. Mike looked decent in round one, I guess you could say, for a 58-year-old. Rounds 2 and 3, yeah, Jake Paul, you know, he was clearly winning those rounds, and it was decent. Like, it wasn't exactly the most boring fight in the world, but then we got to round 4 and all the volume stopped. I mean, we're talking maybe 4 punches for each fighter a round. I had a lot of people text me that don't even watch combat sports saying they were watching this fight, and it really would have been dope if, like, yeah, this fight would have delivered. And I want to get into the Taylor and Amanda Serrano fight because I think they had the biggest W of the night, honestly. But as I said, there were L's for basically everybody, right? Of course, Jake Paul, because there's either one or two options, right? A, either he put on a terrible performance where he literally, you know, had a full-on decision with the 58-year-old, with not to mention a leg injury. Mike Tyson revealed at the end of the fight that he injured his leg during the training camp, said he didn't want to use that as an excuse. Or B, just in the fact that this was just a boring fight. Like, nobody is leaving this fight saying, yeah, I want to see Jake Paul's next fight. Like, this was just a waste of time, I think, in most people's opinion. That also goes for Mike Tyson. He also lost a lot because, yeah, he lost the fight, first of all. And while I don't think anybody with a human brain is going to look at this fight and now start to, you know, just tarnish Mike Tyson's legacy, but I do think that Mike Tyson's stock dropped in terms of money when it comes to him fighting again, right? He did the Roy Jones fight. That was a success. The fight was pretty entertaining, but this fight was incredibly boring. Mike Tyson didn't look good, and I don't think anybody is going to buy that Mike Tyson would beat somebody anymore, especially after how he looked against Jake. And even arguably Netflix lost, because you gotta wonder what other companies like the UFC and other even boxing promotions are thinking after seeing Netflix's constant buffering. Even though I said that Taylor and Amanda Serrano took the biggest W's tonight, because I do think that there is now a new audience that's introduced to them. I do think that they definitely picked up some fans, especially, you know, Irish fans, Puerto Rican fans, but even they didn't come off without a scratch, because let's be honest, Amanda Serrano lost the fight, first of all, and Taylor is here accused of being a cheater and also arguably lost the fight. But most importantly, the fans lost, right? We were supposed to be the beneficiary in this event, and we lost, because even though this event was practically free, we still want a refund of our time back. But what's next? You know, for Mike Tyson, I hope he just retires. I don't think there's a fight that anybody is going to want to see. Like, I like Mike Tyson. I like the Hot Boxing Podcast. Keep doing that, Mike. Please don't step back in the ring. If Mike Tyson is absolutely going to step into the ring, he says he wants to, please don't let it be against Logan Paul. Don't let it be against any of that. I would want to see maybe another older boxer, Evander Holyfield, maybe. One of those feel-good type fights like the Roy Jones fight was. Jake has a lot more options. I mean, it was hilarious to see in the post-fight interview after Jake has been saying this whole week he's going to call out Canelo. He did not call out Canelo, and honestly looked a bit shook when Ariel Helwani mentioned it to him. But yeah, I think for Jake's safety, he shouldn't actually take that fight. I wouldn't mind seeing the KSI fight. I mean, obviously that fight has been talked about, you know, by the time next year for 7 years, crazy enough. We could also see Jake Paul in MMA. I've even heard rumors of Julio Cesar Chavez and Jake Paul taking place for Cinco de Mayo weekend next year. That's obviously a ways off, so I don't know if Jake Paul's gonna have a fight in between that. I think personally, I would rather see Jake Paul fight the MMA fight. It's like the newest thing. I mean, other than that, I don't really see myself getting excited for a Jake Paul fight. Maybe him and Dylan Dennis. I think that would be fun, seeing Dylan Dennis really promoted well that Logan Paul fight. But all in all, yeah, it was a terrible event. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. But I want to recap a little bit the UFC breaking news. You know, Dana White did announce the UFC 310, you know, I guess switch up, not really a new main event. The main event is now the co-main event, which is Alexandra Pantoja versus Kai Sakura. We also got some big news for that card, because the co-main event is now a 5-round fight between Ian Garry and Shavkat Rahkmonov, which, yeah, this is a fight that that I've been wanting to see, but I want to get into why I think this is a terrible decision in a second. We also got the news that Colby Covington versus Joaquin Buckley is going to headline that UFC Tampa card. I thought this was a terrible move. Honestly, I don't get the thinking behind this. While I was a big advocate for Ian Garry versus Shavkat Rahkmonov, you have the Ian Garry and Colby Covington fight right there. The fight that we've been wanting to see for like a year plus at this point. Easily put that as the co-main event for UFC 310. That would have saved the pay-per-view, in my opinion. Like, I think the trash talk at the press conference, the hype you could have done for that, the bad blood. But you have these two fighting a week separate in the same weight class. It just makes no sense to me. I don't really get this. Honestly, I don't think that Joaquin Buckley and Shavkat Rahkmonov is that different from Ian Garry versus Shavkat. But still, I think hardcore fans like me do like these fights. Ian Garry versus Shavkat is still a good fight. Just would have much rather seen Colby Covington and Ian Garry. And honestly, it took away some of my excitement for Shavkat and Ian. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. You guys are the best fan base in MMA. Thank you guys for 2 million views. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one.